I turned 40, and my doctor said, you've hit that age. Probably should get your first mammogram, your baseline mammogram. And I was like, sure, okay, let's do that. And so I got that done, and then his nurse called me and said, you have a BI-RAD4 mammogram, and so we need you to go get another one done. So I went and had another mammogram and an ultrasound done. And the ultrasound tech said, when she was done, she said, well, you're free to go. No, why don't you have a seat out here? I'm gonna have whoever it was talk to you. And I was like, oh, this is not good. This is not good. They never ask you to stay. That's how I had a pretty good idea that I had cancer. And it was invasive lobular cancer, which doesn't make lumps. So there's no way that I would have found it until it was pretty far progressed just by doing self-exams. So if it hadn't been for the mammogram, I would not have known. So I had 2 biopsies. I had a double mastectomy. I had an axillary lymph node dissection, and I've had tissue expanders put in. Oh, and no wait, and a chemo port put in. So more than I thought. And then tomorrow I start chemo. Well, it's a program that was originally started for children. The nurse who started the program explained that when kids go through things, they like to have a souvenir or some badge of courage. And she said usually what the nurses would give was stickers, but stickers don't last. And so she said some of these kids had so many procedures, and if they had kept all those stickers, you know, how much better their story would have been able to tell to them. So she said she tried to come up with a way that the kids could keep something tangible and tell their story. Each bead represents a procedure, so the blue ones are office visits. So every time there's a blue one, that means you've been to the doctor. Every pink one is a mammogram or something in that category. These light green ones are ultrasounds, MRIs, that kind of thing. This one, the pink heart, was commissioned by my surgeon, and it's his office that does the beads of courage here. And so this one, the pink heart, is for Dr. Howard. The black ones are pokes and sticks. There's lots of black ones. Yeah, lots of black ones. The beige ones are biopsies. The purple ones are IV antibiotics. The aqua ones are drains. Oh my gosh, nobody likes drains. They're probably the worst part of this whole thing, is drains, because they stick with you for a while. The rainbow ones are therapy. The yellow ones are hospital stays, and some people, every night you stay in the hospital, you get a yellow bead. And so, you know, if you're there 2 weeks, you end up with 14 yellow beads all at once. Not to mention all the pokes and sticks that go with them. So, stars are surgeries, and that's what those are. My favorite ones are the ones that represent the people in my life. And so, this is my main caregiver. That's Rick's bead. So this one is my daughter's. She picked that one out. My oldest daughter wasn't there, so I picked one for her. And then my girlfriend, that's Jamie's bead. This one is my bead. I picked this one because it reminds me of a frog. And I don't mind frogs if I know they're there, but I hardly ever see a frog before it jumps, and that scares me. And so just like going through this, if I know what's coming, I'm okay. I can deal with it. But when you throw something new and unexpected at me, that's when I have an issue. And so that's why I picked the frog one. Because if I know it's there, I'm okay. Some of these other ones, the bumpy beads, are beads of courage, or courage beads, because you went through something specific, not a procedure. So usually it's an act of courage. This particular one is for the day I discovered I wasn't gonna have nipples. Everybody has that moment when it finally hits them that, oh yeah, this is life altering. And I spent the whole day on the couch just crying, just, you know, snot and can't breathe, and hoping nobody shows up at the door. That one is, because it's right next to the girls' beads, that's my courage bead for telling the girls that I had cancer. That was a hard day. That seeing my non-emotional 15-year-old break down in tears in a restaurant was, and that one was pretty hard. Not only do you get to do courage things, but if you have major life events that happen. So kids who graduate from high school get a graduation bead, and other, if you happen to get pregnant, you get to have a little baby bead and all that kind of stuff. Well, this I realize is not a baseball, but this represents my very first baseball game. So that was the very first time I'd ever been to a baseball game, and I still had the compression bra on and all the dressings, everything from the double mastectomy. I'm sitting outside in the sun, sweat just dripping down, but it was so much fun to get to experience that. When people ask me, what have you been through? I'm like, hang on, I'll be right back. And I go and get my beads, and I'm like, okay, this is what I've been through. Each one of these things is something that I've done or had done to me. And I haven't been through chemo yet. So every time I go to chemo, I'm getting at least 2 more beads. So this is gonna keep growing. I journaled through this also, so I have journal entries for each of these beads. And so that's why it's good, is because I can remember things, and it's physical and it's tangible. That's why I like it. It's actually therapy. It's mental health almost, in a way. So I think they call it art therapy for the kids, but I think for me it's more than just memories. It is a coping strategy to be able to look back and say, oh yeah, I didn't go through quite a bit of stuff.